Good evening, Dr. Bansal. How are you?
Very good evening, ma'am. I am
How
all
are
way
you,
good,
sir? Good.
fine and ready.
Right, sir. So give us 5 minutes. Participants are joining in, and then we'll come start.
Sure, sure. In the meanwhile, I will finish up my cup of tea.
Sure, of course.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, Dr.
Ma'am,
Bhanik.
yesterday that attendance.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, it was already downloaded from Zoom, so it automatically gives us the attendance.
So no need to attendance.
No, nah. So no need to mark. As long as you're attending the session, we get it towards the end of the session.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is George Thomas.
Okay.
I could not join yesterday,
Okay.
so kindly include me in the group. So I took the link from one of my friends because I couldn't get the link directly.
Okay. Please share your details on the chat of Zoom. We will do the next.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Neeraj?
Yeah, Neeraj from Kite Ghaziabad is this side.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, may we know the regular that status of our attendance?
Regular?
Yeah, may we get the regular update about our attendance also
We
of this
will
group?
do that. Like we shared the presentation yesterday, maybe
Yeah.
from today we can share the attendance. Sharif,
Yeah.
can we do that?
Yeah. Actually, sometimes it will happen that due to connectivity issues, na, so we will miss that sometimes.
Sure, sure,
But
sure.
most of us we will connect it and join all the sessions. But
All
if we know come to know about our attendance status, then we
okay.
can do the
Sure,
needful.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
Greetings,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Greetings, ma'am. This is
Yes.
Suman Chawla from Epi Test India, Panipat.
Okay.
Ma'am, may I know the test series also? When you will share that?
That will happen on the last day. All the details will be shared on the group, and we
Okay.
will have it once the last session and the validatory session is done, and then we'll have special time for the final assessment.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Sharif, can you hear me?
Hello, ma'am. This is Vivek.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharif, can we share the attendance next day every time so that it helps the participants? From tomorrow, we can notify. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We have in Excel sheets and we can
Yeah.
share with
We
all
can
the
share the names, only the names. We don't have to share the other details. Yes, Vivekji, go ahead.
Ma'am, will we be getting the presentations for the last 2 days?
Yes,
For the
already
yesterday?
shared on the
It is already
WhatsApp group.
shared with all the participants in the WhatsApp group.
Are you part of the WhatsApp group, Vivekji?
Yeah, I'm part of the WhatsApp
So,
group.
so it was shared this morning. If you could
Okay,
check the
I'll check.
recordings also and the presentations also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, Dr. Bansal, if I have your permission, can we start?
Of course, we can.
Okay. So, everyone, good evening. Welcome back to day 2 of our ATAL FDP on navigating SDGs, a faculty guide to sustainability achievement being organized by the New Delhi Institute of Management. I'm sure all of you had a wonderful learning yesterday and are looking forward to more knowledgeable sessions till the 25th. I'm extremely happy to once again introduce our speaker, Dr. Rajiv Bansal. You met him already yesterday, but some of you are new. So for their benefit, I am reintroducing Dr. Bansal. Dr. Bansal is a training and research consultant. He is also the editor-in-chief of Journal of Administrative Development, a double-blind peer review ISSN journal. He has retired as Joint Director, Training and Research in 2023 from SIRD under the HP Institute of Public Administration, Simla. And he was also the former director at Social Audit Unit at HP. He holds a PhD on social audit from Rural Development Department, Gandhigram Rural University, Tamil Nadu. His area of training and research include rural development, Panchayati Raj, development administration, management development, administrative reforms, and many such insightful areas. He has a rich experience of 35 plus years in research, training, documentation, monitoring review, guest sessions, consulting, administrative work, etc. And he has chaired many conferences in the national space. Today, he would be sharing his experience and knowledge on teaching strategies for SDG engagement. And I request all of you to please learn from him because he's consulting with many organizations at national and international level. And it would definitely be helpful that if we all can imbibe these things in our academics and our institution wherever we are working. So it's my pleasure to welcome all of you once again to day 2 and Dr. Bansal once again. I request you to please commence your session.
Madam, tell me a little bit about the profile of the participant. Yesterday also I could not get it.
Sure. So these are pan-India faculty. Some of them are faculty at undergraduate courses or postgraduate courses, and some of them are academic trainers, some of them are administrators. So that is the entire group. And we had over 200 plus registrations from all states of the country.
And they are from different streams, humanities,
Different,
commerce,
yes,
science, vocational, etc.,
that's
etc.
right. Yes, different diverse stream.
Okay. Any particular expectation from my side so that
So
I
they,
have,
so they're
though I have
expected
structured my
for,
presentations,
I
but still I
know.
would like to address those issues.
Sure. I'm sure that they will ask towards the end, but basically they're expecting some hands-on aspects which they can straight away use it and leverage for their teaching, administration, and their institutional purpose.
Okay, I understand. And let us begin. I start with my presentation.
Sure.
Presentation is visible
Yes, it is.
and slides are moving also.
Yes, they are.
Thank you, madam, for supporting. So I go by the topic which was suggested, that is teaching strategies for SDG engagement. And with its three sub-components, that is about active learning techniques, then collaborative and experiential learning, and project-based learning focused on sustainable development goals. Right, ma'am? It is, I can say I'm starting with a gray word because normally education is only subjected for qualifying the exams by cramming the pre-decided curriculum. Yesterday we were discussing a lot about curriculum. And here no participation of stakeholders and take account of the competencies required. This competency word will keep coming time and again. And the professional qualifications, they are not saleable in the job market. Resultantly, we have the ration card, but we don't have any ration available on those ration cards. If I broadly look at the idea of education, it has two objectives. One is, firstly, which is the most important, all-round mental growth, developing a person into a good citizen, affording him opportunity that he is able to live in the society and sustain with all the expectation which the social system expects from him. And second aspect, which has become the first and most important prominent one, that is the livelihood support, that is employability, what we call of quality education. And many times it happens with the faculty also that they are not imparting innovative, analytical, and comprehension skills for which they are being sent to the educational institutions and do not have that type of qualifications or skills which are required in the modern job markets. We all know about this traditional education system, the Gurukul Parampara, which we used to have in our country. Guru Shishya Parampara, we have examples from Mahabharata, we have examples from Ramayana also. We all know about this. Yesterday also we were discussing something about this domain. This is the gray areas of this. Learning takes place in a vacuum because today we are talking about teaching strategies, and strategies are aimed at learning what is actually achieved. That's going by that traditional system, that learning takes place in a vacuum. There are hardly any innovative teaching learning methods except for lectures. We hardly have certain other type of possibilities available with us. No learning activities undertaken, though we undertake sometimes of different type of say assessment, etc. But still on the end of what is actually gone to the minds of people and how they are going to apply this into their real life situations where they are going for the job markets or they're moving to the fields or working with the communities, there they fail to work with the in synergy with the people and the different challenges which come across at that time they do not have any form. So these are the gray areas. We move forward from this, but before we move forward we should keep in mind, normally it is very important if we look at the andragogy part, how the adults learn, and we go by the adult learning principles. There are certain things which we need to keep in mind. First principle is that adults learn if it is important for them. So for undergraduate classes are concerned, I feel still students have some understanding, some type of zeal or some enthusiasm for the purpose of qualifying their exams. If they feel the teacher whatsoever he is delivering a lecture or giving a talk in the classroom, they'll pay an attention to it because they feel it is important for qualifying their examination. The second important principle is that adults learn when they feel responsible. It is their responsibility to learn this thing, only then they learn. Third principle is when they are prepared for learning. It is not like that we can give them anything to, they can be served with any type of recipe which they will accept. It depends upon their readiness. Next principle is if learning improves their work. So is the case with modern IT tools, whatsoever techniques, gadgets, etc. are available. Most of the students are now ready with this smartphone and they are doing every work with the smartphone. So this has become as a tool also, those who are using in a optimum level and in a subjective manner. So if any learning which is adding value to their work, they will love to learn it. Then if they feel this type of learning, if they are going for chat GPT or going for some presentation making or something like Gemini or Meta, etc., whatsoever things are there, if they apply this knowledge to their real life situation, only adults learn. And most important part is adults learn by doing. It is not only by that we tell them something they will understand, but they are subject to put into a learning event. We are supposed to create such events where learning takes place itself. And another one more important thing is that different individuals learn differently. Some learn by visuals. Now, YouTube videos are very much popular. People look at the visuals in the YouTube and they try to understand, subsume some things. Then auditory, many platforms are there where audio books are available. When some storytellings are also one of the medium of teaching people. So if somebody is going by that type of instruments, and third part is kinesthetic, by doing the things. So depends upon how a person is comfortable in learning, either by visualizing it, looking at the videos, either by hearing in the lecture form, or doing in a project form or in a field exercise. So active learning takes place. There is a very hard statement. What I hear, I forget. Normally, we always say to our students also, you are not paying any attention. Please listen carefully. Silence. So such are the words. So people do not pay attention, or attentiveness is a subject. They are not able to concentrate. Second is what I see, I remember. We are saying about three things: by hearing, by visualizing, and by doing. But what I do, I understand. Anything which I perform, any job I do, it becomes a part. I am a part of that activity. So by being a part of it, by participating in it, I'm able to understand and do it. When I look at the learning methods, there are three types of learning methods, but it is dependent upon the focus of learning at three levels. First is cognitive method. It is something related with the intellectual, it is related with the knowledge. The books textbooks we are reading, the help books we are reading, the internet material we are reading. Second part is affective or emotional, which touches our mind, which we feel responsible for. It depends upon our attitude, our motivational level, the things we inspire, the values we honor. And third part is psychomotor or practice, learning by doing. So these are three types of learning methods. Here is a complete detail of these three methods, which type of techniques we are using and we can use. For cognitive focus, we use the lecture method. And the techniques for lecture method is lecturate, normally which is delivered in the class, then question answers, panel discussions, then syndicate. For affective, which is related with our emotions, our thought process, that is small group discussion, buzz discussion, syndicate, jigsaw, or fishbowl. These are all techniques. Role play is one more technique. 2 days back, I was doing a role play exercise, especially on the POSH committee thing. I feel everybody is aware with the POSH. Every institution, government institution especially, has this POSH committee available in their organizations. It is process oriented, simple, and multiple. These are three types of techniques used. Case study, we all know, it is very accepted and fodder principle. Case study could be written, could be audio, could be visual, or could be audio visual both. There are simulation exercises also, social or organizational exercises. Then there could be learning games, which is mostly practiced in the management schools, business schools. There could be exercise, there could be inventories. When we undertake transactional analysis, we call it instrument. It could be interpersonal, we are looking, reflecting upon ourselves, and it is intrapersonal also. We are looking at the our own side and on the other side also. How we are with the people, how people are with us, or internally how we are. The thing I was saying yesterday, that is managing ourselves. Then skill part, it is hands-on exercise. It is practice, apprenticeship. One can be attached to somebody. Normally, the IAS officers, which are and the HS officers, when they get into the academy after their qualifying the examination, they are attached with some officers. They are given the rules of different level functioning of development administration as well as uh, quasi-legal and administrative work. They are attached with the BDO office, they are attached with the Patwari also, with the police thana also, with the different offices also, with different development departments also. They are attached with the deputy commissioner, SDM office, then Tehsil office, so that they understand the working. This is called practice, apprenticeship, field visit projects. Different kind of techniques for this hands-on could be used. Now we come to the second part, that is collaborative learning. It is a teaching method which involves students working together in groups to solve problems, learn new concept or complete task. When you take the students to field visit, normally in the science streams, I understand that in the botany class they go for the plants collection. So that is a type of collaborative learning. We identify plants, pick up those, and certain times in geology labs also, students identify the different animals, etc., put in the uh, lab in the zoology. Collaborative learning affords us opportunity for people or the students to develop themselves with their own actions. Here the role is changing. Now it is not the teacher, it is the student who is coming into the play. It encourages participants or the students to be a source of information and knowledge. Whatsoever they understand, they look at the things, they have their own level of experience, and based on that, they draw their information and knowledge about the real world. Now they start recognizing the value of the popular knowledge and encourages people to participate in their own learning process. When they look at the things, go to the field, live with the community, and undertake certain type of exercises, they inculcate their own habit of understanding, learning. So it becomes a tool, also a strategy of social change. The transformation within the person starts taking place. He tries to understand the things. It is not only theory, then it becomes practical also. Whatsoever they have read in the books, at the ground level, they find it altogether different situation. And working with people give them the understanding of process of the collective analysis. Though while working on the books, you may have your individual thought process. But when you are working with people in the field, like you are going to construct a house of a person belonging to the below poverty line category. At the same time, there are number of other aspirants also to those who want a house in the same category. Keeping on the pressure and identification on the basis of natural justice, on the basis of justification, and the social pressures, political pressure and administrative pressures, one has to reach to a conclusion to whom the house is to be given. So that comes only with the practice of moving to field, working with the community, understanding the ground realities. So change scenario is, we had already discussed it yesterday. Learner is in the driving seat and teacher becomes a guide, a person who is showing him the path with the torch. With the help of a torch, the teacher guides him how to go ahead. So now here from that Guru Shishya Parampara, we are moving to another direction, that is self-driven learning, the Eklavya style of learning which had taken place. We all know about the this thing from the Mahabharata, the Indian mythology. So we can make a comparison between the traditional system, that is called pedagogy, with which we used to teach the children, and andragogy, how adults are taught. So on the adults parts, here learner becomes independent. He has experience backed by knowledge. He over the time, he's not like a raw material as the a child of the primary school comes, but after reaching to the age of 14 or 16 years, when a student reaches to college, he has his own experience of 16 years of life he has lived. He has his own egos, he has his own level of understanding. He has certain principles in his mind, some guiding spirits as well. At the same time, the learner tends to improve his skill sets based on the ground realities, what he finds or feels in the ground. He is self-motivated. The situational analysis gives him some guidance how to move ahead. And it results into the adaptive mindset, how to adapt to the situation prevailing in the ground. So on the learning part, we can say it is changes in the behavior, which is internally accepted by the individual. This change results into long-term change. It equips him for the ambiguous future also. It gives him an opportunity to understand the working environment where he is working, how he defines the organization, and tries to understand the system, the hierarchical ladders also. It is focused by individuals, primarily organic and not focused on doing but understanding. So one evolves to develop himself. We come to the next part, that is experiential learning. What is experiential learning? It is a process of acquiring skills and expertise by doing things. How we understand anything by actually undertaking. A person who learns a recipe from the YouTube or learns it from the book, but actually when he gets into the process, he doesn't know there were some missing links. So when we actually do it, we come to know those missing links. Experiential learning gives an opportunity to learn by hit and trial, mistakes, what are the results, what are the achievements. So leaves one with all type of option available and develops the personality of a person. It is self-initiative. One is self-motivated to go ahead. It gives an opportunity for self-assessment. I'm showing you a clip. I feel it will help me. Ma'am, just tell me whether it is working or not. Audio, video, both things are available.
Video.
Experiential learning
Sir,
theory
audio is
Now,
not there.
work of prominent 20th
now
century
it has come.
It's
Yeah,
coming,
yeah.
huh? Both audio and
Now it
video.
is coming. Yeah.
thinkers who made experience a central role in their theories of human learning and development. David Kolb synthesized the work of these foundational scholars to develop a holistic model of experiential learning theory. Learning is the process whereby knowledge is created through the transformation of experience. This is ELT in a nutshell. The theory is built on 6 propositions that are shared by the foundational scholars. Learning outcome is not an endpoint, but simply a resting point of an ongoing learning process. As we learn new ideas, we also modify and dispose of old ones. Learners are capable of balancing the opposing modes in the learning cycle. Learning never ends. It encompasses all life stages, from childhood to adolescence to middle and old age. When learners and the environment interact, both are changed. We do not simply respond to the environment, but we recreate it to meet our needs. Every field requires unique skills and a special learning process. Learning to develop skills in empathic listening is different than learning skills in engineering. Since its emergence in the early 1970s, there have been over 90,000 experiential learning citations, and ELT has been used to create countless educational courses in multiple fields. Since 2000, ELT research in many fields around the world has more than quadrupled. Experiential learning theory is highly interdisciplinary, addressing learning and educational issues in at least 30 academic disciplines. Institutions and educators are experimenting with experiential learning practices beyond higher education. In recent years, K through 12 institutions, business organizations, and non-formal organizations have embraced ELT to respond to the learning needs of their clients and constituents. Through recursive cycles of experience, discussion, feedback, and practice and application in real-life context, learners report increased levels of critical thinking abilities and the capacity to apply and connect theoretical knowledge with real-life application. Like Kurt Lewin said, there is nothing so practical as a good theory. And like David Hunt said, there is nothing so theoretical as a good practice. ELT continues to be renewed and enriched through the collective experience of those who apply the theory in their practices around the world. As the workplace, marketplace, and global environment continue to evolve, experiential learning theory is designed to respond to the educational needs of the 21st century.
So I feel the message is clear. The theory was propounded by David Cole. It is applicable to each and every sphere of life, even to our daily life, our family life, our office life, our college life. It requires a hands-on approach that puts the learner at the center of the learning experience. We will be going more deep into it. It facilitates learning through reflection on doing. There are certain persons who evaluate themselves, who reflect on their activities. I remember one of my head of institution, she was a lady, she used to recollect everything in the evening. And many times it happens, she used to call me back in the evening. Oh, Rajiv, you had come and I missed it. Tomorrow morning we will do. That gives an fair idea that she was in the habit of reflection. She used to ponder upon how the day has passed, what was left. So reflection is a good habit as well. It deals with the 4 learning stages. I will be showing one more video from a Hindi movie. I feel that will give you quite fair idea how experiential learning takes place. Firstly, we are into a direct experience. Say in case of this lecture only, you are into a process of direct experience. Then you reflect on the experience, how this has gone. Then you have some certain learning, some plus points, some negative points, something new learned, something relevant, something not relevant. Based on that, you come to your own conclusions and generalize some statement based on that. And you use your that knowledge for the purpose of your future events. So that is implementing that your knowledge which you have gained from the experiences. We will have one more video clip for those persons who are not familiar with Hindi. I will regret for that, but there are English translation as well at the same time, but no subtitles are there. So I feel you are able to get the idea. The experience a lady was having while preparing food in the kitchen. Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, yes,
Sir,
sir.
yes,
Please
Yes, sir.
continue.
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
The experience lady had while making the puris in the kitchen, she had some generalization, some understanding on the same experience. Like I said, there was a direct experience. She reflected on the experience of making puri, how she can use the fuel in a very economical manner. And based on the same principle, she generalizes it and uses it for the practical orientation. So we can conclude that there is a concrete experience, having an experience, then reflective observation. We look at the things, reflect them, draw some learning from that experience, then abstract conceptualization, concluding from the learning. Whatsoever process we are through with, we draw some type of learning, and based on that we apply it. That is active experimentation, planning, trying out what you have learned. So I feel this was a appropriate movie clip to give you some understanding about how experiential learning takes place. So this gives you another idea that positive experiences making makes learning fun. When we go to the field, do the real things, that application of our knowledge to the real life situation gives us the feeling of joy. Third part is project-based learning focused on sustainable development goals. Firstly, we try to understand project-based learning, what it is. It is a teaching method that encourages students to learn how the students, they go to the field, work in the groups, real world problems, how they are encountered. They develop different type of skills, what we call soft skills or management skills, like problem solving, dispute resolution, decision taking, collaboration, then leadership, team building, etc., etc. Students work on different projects given to them and extend over an extended period. It may be a week, it may be 2 weeks, it may be for a semester. Many say courses have last one semester or half of the semester for the project work. It engages them in the solving the real world problem or answering a complex question. Like these students of MBA Rural Development in Himachal Pradesh University, they have been sending students to us for orientation for 21 days, in which we keep them for first 1 week in the classroom session, give them the real understanding of the field, then assign them certain tasks, send them to a field, tell them clearly that we do not want anything which is picked up from the net, nothing to be picked up from the internet. Go to the field, live with the people, stay with them, have your boarding lodging with them, do your work, and then come back with your own understanding, your own project work, and present in the plenary. Based on that they are assessed and their marks are given, assessment is given, and they're based on that they qualify that orientation or not. So that type of work gives an opportunity for the students to demonstrate their knowledge and skills by creating a product or presentation for a real audience. It is discussed in the, as we have been doing for the MBA Rural Development students, it is discussed with the panel, and they are very badly grilled, which gives them an understanding. So, say it is a 5 years back thing. Many of them are now into actually working in the same spheres. Certain people have joined the National Rural Livelihood Mission or the State Rural Livelihood Mission. Certain are practicing their own vocal for local products. Certain into the training with the different type of uh, audiences in the field. So how to go out project-based learning? It is a 7 project-based teaching practices. It is a teaching method where students gain knowledge and skills by working on extended period. This we have already discussed. First part is how a teacher goes about it. They firstly design and plan. I have seen there is a fashion in the universities that they take collaborative project, and I had visit of certain universities to my institution also on the so-called collaborative projects, but I failed to find that type of content which is actually required, the type of inputs from the teachers as well as students. That was missing. It was more of holding a banner and getting a photograph with the different dignitaries and putting it in the papers and the social media and as well as in their reports. So it depends upon how you have designed and planned in context of the students and implementation actually at the ground level to understand, for giving the opportunity to the students to understand and work with the people. Then there should be some standard marks also. How the project is going to be executed, how it will be evaluated, how assessment will take place, which type of key understanding and knowledge is required for the, that depends upon when we set the standards. Always such standards should be quantifiable. It should not be only subjective. Somebody writes a story or descriptive information, that is not suffice. We should be able to quantify everything. Third part is build the culture. Teacher explicitly and implicitly promote students' independence and growth, open-ended inquiry, team spirit, and attention to quality. What they have actually done in the field, when you interact, put them the open-ended question. That gives an uh, opportunity that they are able to respond to them actually what they have done in the field, that comes in front of the teacher. They are wise enough to understand whether the students have actually gone to the field, worked there, or it is all copy paste material or the lift irrigation scheme so called. Then next part is the managing the activities. Teachers work with the students to organize tasks and schedules whatsoever work was given to them. They work together on them, set checkpoints, which level, which type of interventions will be evaluated. Find and use resources. What are the resources available at the field level? I do not know you are comfortable with the PRA techniques, etc., or transact walk. They gives fair idea to work at the community level. Such resources can be very useful. Create products and make them public. How do you get with the people, learn to live with them, and looking for the solutions which come across when you working at the community level, at the grassroots level, with the people either in the urban area or in the rural area. Then scaffold student learning. Teachers employ variety of lessons tools. Different type of intervention, different type of tools are given at the different intervals with the instruction strategies, how they can complete their projects at the phase 1, 2, 3, how they are going to add value to it, how they are going to take it further. And final part is the assess students learning. It should be highly structured, quantifiable. Use formative as well as summative, both type of assessments of knowledge, what has gone to their mind when they were taught, understanding what is received there, and success skill, how they have executed it. It depends upon their efficiency, and includes self and peer assessment. How do they visualize themselves? And peer assessment, we give the opportunity when they are presenting to other groups to raise question, also to evaluate them in team as well as individual work. So here is one thing which I am presenting from the book. Based on my learning from yesterday, I have kept the title of the book also here, Teaching the Sustainable Development Goals. It is ESD Expert Net, a book by the German Federal Ministry, Engagement Global, and one more is there. There are a project executed against every goal. Against every all the 17 goals, there are 17 such experiences are there belonging to different countries. I have selected one which related to India. There is one more related to India, but that was quite extensive. I looked for a smaller project. It is about SEWA, Self-Employed Women's Association. It is about the poor ladies who are not able to meet their employable or their livelihood, were not able to make both hands meet. Poor people simply need some capital, some savings, some credit so that they can invest and generate income for them. For the small assets they require, if they are into a tailoring business, they might need some sewing machine. If they are into dairy business, they won't need house cattle, or they are some into other business, then they will need some push carts, etc. If they are just working as laborer to say carry some material, etc. These women needed knowledge, information, and skill of the trade and management. What was required? That is firstly knowledge, the theory part, skills how to do it, and manage the affairs, keeping the accounts, preparing the labels, etc. If any product is produced, what are the licenses are required, how the accounts to be maintained, that type of things. They needed security in terms of health and child care to be the word of. for the purpose of their human development, health and childcare. They were looking for the additional financial support. So the solution was through Seva. Seva is an association of, it is a cluster of women founded in 1972 in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, by Ila Ben Bhatt brother. Ila Ben worked with women outside textile mills who had no formal source of income. Their husbands or the spouses were working with the different industries there. They had nearly 2 million members, and main goal was to organize women workers for employment and self-reliance, giving them some additional income by their full employment. So the women had variety of problems. They were not having adequate wages. Were having less opportunities of full-time and continuous employment, and employment conditions, they were also not favorable. So solution which was given to them, Seva carefully examined the kind of support, what was required for them. They analyzed it, extended them for reaching the full employment level. What was extended to them? Firstly, capital in terms of money or the equity. Secondly, capacity, the type of knowledge they required along with the efficiency or the skill. Then social security, some healthcare is required, some material is required, collective and organized strength. How they can work with all the women in a team. These poor ladies, they needed capital and ability to raise capital from their savings, credit, or insurance. If they are producing anything, there should be some insurance also, some credit, some loaning facilities also available. That resulted into their upliftment. They were earning approximately 12,000 per female every month. It afforded them a quite good livelihood support. Now, what teacher can tell students to reflect upon? The four components identified by Seva, do they address poverty? Because this particular case is directly, this project is related with the first goal, that is no poverty, and partially related with the second goal also no hunger. Did Seva's initiative address income poverty or multidimensional poverty? So it was related with hunger also, it was related with income also. What do you propose? These are the based on experiential learning principle. How do we reflect? What do you propose government of your country by learning from the Seva example of poor community? When policy formulation is being undertaken, what government can do on that part? What role can education and training play? Can some knowledge or some type of handholding support build the capacities of these ladies? And poverty is classic chicken and egg situation. Nobody knows what comes first. So could the initiative or the efforts of Seva could break this vicious circle of poverty? That is something we can ask the students to reflect upon. Now look at the which are the learning objectives it is addressing. As a student, as a learner, they have to examine and analyze causes and impact of the poverty, how poverty is affecting their life. Then they can also compare and contrast the benefit of addressing both income poverty and multidimensional poverty. Then thirdly, learner is able to understand, show sensitivity to the issues of poverty as well as empathy. Empathy is a subject of value as well, and solidarity with the poor people. They come to know what are the situations prevailing in the grassroots level. Then finally, the learner role is to able to include poverty reduction, social justice, and anti-corruption consideration in their activities. These are the things which, based on their field work, they come to understand. So yesterday we said 5-6 type of competencies which are addressed with this process. Now look at which are the competencies which are achieved through this process, this type of project we are handling. Firstly is critical thinking competency. Going into such a abject poverty situation, one's mind is touched upon. They analyze the things. So this competency is addressed. Then systems, how government systems, the type of situation prevailing in the field, in the industry as well, also as well as in their families. Then anticipatory competency, how they look at the situation, which type of income and other health related challenges or gender issues are coming. Then normative, how do they normalize the things, all are which I had told yesterday. Then integrated problem solving, how they can initiate any intervention which can result for a solution. Then strategic, which type of uh, policy they can frame, or intervention, or some kind of strategy they can work out, how they can work with the people, that is collaboration competency. And above all is the self-awareness competency. They become sensitized towards the field level situations. So what are the ideas here to teach? Sorry. Ideas are framing the issue of poverty in the local context. When we are addressing goal 1 and goal 2, we create such a situation that they are able to understand the poverty in local context. Then build scenario, the whole situation in front of their eyes. They can understand without telling anything, without discussing in the class, without giving them any teaching or any exercise, any homework. Then debate and discuss. They can work with the people, look at the different dimensions. Actually, those people who are in the BPL list, below BPL is below poverty line, whether they are the actually persons deserve to be in the list, or by their influential systems they are into the list, whether the genuine persons have been deprived, and engage with the local government as well as media. The type of social media or the electronic media or the print media which is available, because whenever there is a news, this print media is now available for grassroots level. So local level, say urban local bodies or the Panchayati Raj institutions, whatsoever is available, they can also engage. Because when you go to the field, if you are going to the, especially in a village, the Pradhan and ward members, they have become active. They start uh, doubting or putting a suspicion, which is a person, why they are coming to our field. So all these things gives you a fair idea of executing a project, how you can address the SDGs in a project-based approach. If you are interested for looking at the Seva website, I have given that address, and on Asia Initiative website, I have given that also. So take away from all this is this process germinates competencies. We have mentioned competencies in the last slide also, 6-7 different type of competency among the student who work on the such projects. Now, how do we go ahead with these competencies and what do they provide us? Professional require a strong competency based. We had discussed it yesterday also, as well as a value base. Our values always guide us to move forward. What motivates me is based on the principle of my values to the things to which I give weightage as well. In order to be inspired, committed, and resilient in dealing with the challenges faced in organizational practice, these are the principles which work as a pushing force for us. Competencies are enduring abilities of an individual that predicts situational performance across different situations. When we are put into different type of circumstances. These are our competencies, our understanding. How are we uh, having some interpersonal behavior skills? Are we into the aggressive class of persons, or we are into the passive class of persons, or aggressive, passive, or indifferent? That depends how we react to the situation. Normally one could not be aggressive all time, one could not be indifferent or passive all the time. Depends upon the situation how one react to the situation. But when we go to the field, based on the type of practices prevailing there, we come to subsume ourselves or to align ourselves along with those type of systems prevailing at the grassroots level. The competencies are basically linked with the attitude, the things we value, the values and purpose, the guiding force, the morals we attach value to, the inspiration, the guiding spirit, and our motivation for any work. So, how do we draw solutions from this type of competencies we are having? It is an important slide. I do not know I will be able to do justice and to make you understand this thing or not, but it is very complex one. Firstly, we know to have know-how. That talks about knowledge. First part is know-how. We take knowledge of any subject. Second part is know how to know. We should have that competence, that type of understanding that we are able to learn that knowledge. That is gaining knowledge for the purpose of the knowledge. That is the how part of it. Third part is dealing with oneself. It is about managing ourselves. How do we take up this situation? How do we manage ourselves? Then dealing with others, the people with whom we are working, our peers, our teams, our superiors, our parallels, our down the line also. So when we talk about know-how, it is about problem reflection. We take understanding about the situation prevailing at the grassroots level. When we talk about know how to know, it is about methods reflection. Which type of techniques, if you remember in the last, say, previous 10 slides ago, I had told you about the different methods. So that this tells about which type of method, cognitive, affective, or psychomotor, which type of methods. It depends upon the type of situation we are having. When we are dealing with ourselves, we are reflecting on ourselves. That is self-reflection. And fourth part is dealing with others. It is reflection on the communication and cooperation with the people we are working. So on this part, another dimension is, firstly, when we are talking about the knowledge, it is subject area competence. We are having knowledge, it is methods competence. When we are reflecting on ourselves, managing ourselves, it is personal competence. And when we are dealing with others, it is about social competence. So all are dependent upon our own attitude. There is one more graph. I feel that I thought I won't have time to put in there. There is a journey for the competence development. First thing is unknown incompetence. I have some type of incompetence, but I am not aware of it. Say, I do not know how to make the optimum utilization of the mobile phones, the smartphones we are having. I can use it for chat GPT also. I can use it for scanning a document also. I can use it for mail also. But I do not know. So I'm not aware of it. It is my unknown incompetence. Second part is known incompetence. I am aware of the fact that I am not comfortable with working with the mobiles. I am not able to make payments with the help of UPI, etc. But I am aware of it. That is my known incompetence. The third part is known competence. I am good at something. I know how to make payment through UPIs. That is my area of strength. And fourth most important part is the unknown competence. One person over the time, by deriving these type of competence, becomes a skillful master, become very competent. He has so much level of competence that he is himself not aware of. That is the optimum level. So this is how this journey goes on. So paradigm shift here. I don't feel I'm going very heavy upon you. The paradigm shift is, in the past, there was a predefined curricula with a set of knowledge skills, but competency development, these interventions gravitate around inner motivational drivers. What guides me for work? what takes me to the field, what gives me the opportunity to work with the people to find the solution. If I'm working with the system in the management, how I am working with the systems where I am uh, uh, doing my job. Then people need to connect life goals and overall vision of the society, what I am going to contribute towards my organization, to my college, to my university, and to my society. I can conclude by saying that good education is the art not of putting ideas into the people's head, but drawing the ideas out. All the times we are in a process that keep on telling, and just ask the people to abide by, to pay heed to whatsoever we are saying. Rather, we are required to look at the other dimension, what knowledge people are having and how we can exchange that knowledge, so that if one person is having one idea and another is having one more idea, if we interact and we exchange it with others, we both will have two ideas. So good education is always about taking the ideas out of the mind of the people. Again, my five books, my call for journal papers if you want to have. Now we have time for questions.
Requesting participants, if you have any question or query to ask here.
If nobody asks a question, I'm in a habit of asking questions myself.
Yes, sir, please, uh, if you want to.
Let me check the message box. If anybody has put anything in the chat box.
No, sir, there is no question there.
There is no question, means session was quite heavy for them. That experiential learning was a very poor thing for them. Has anybody heard about this experiential learning prior to this? Or anybody practicing it?
Yes, sir, we do in NDIM, sir.
Okay. And how do you do it?
So sir, like student participate in activities. Like sometimes it happens inside campus, or sometimes they are going out to attend some events, or they are participating in those events. Then basis on their participation, some points are given to them, sir.
And how do you go for the debriefing? It is a technical jargon.
So technicalities, I do not have much idea.
Mhm.
Like how this whole operation is processed, because time to time, sir, we are asked to like submit like report with respect to the students, whether they were involved in some activities with us.
Rather, there is a participatory method of doing the things.
Yes,
Instead
sir.
of teacher preparing the report, give it to the students for preparation.
No, sir, they do,
Whatever
they
they
do.
prepare, that
Yes,
can be further structured and revised and amended as well.
yes, sir. So reporting is different, sir. Students have different report format, and we have like different reporting formats.
Have you come across any incident? Any student has come with some better idea of reporting? Their
Uh,
report was better than the structure you had decided in the mind.
Sir, as far as I remember, like I have not seen. Uh,
There is a knowledge deficit now with the new generation.
so like I will not complain. Like they have their own challenges. So like we had our own. So I do not know like how to, like we should not blame them.
No, it is not a blame game basically.
Yes, sir.
It is a exchange of words for the purpose of learning.
Mm-hmm.
Because my own experiences with the young generations, especially the different type of students of university, etc., or project-based assignments, We have young professionals from different institutions also. They
Yes,
also
sir.
land into the training institution. Then we have the new officers at different level, gazetted and non-gazetted, who are inducted into service. So that
Mhm.
knowledge deficit is normally seen there. I do not know, it may be due to the government tag to the jobs as well, because once you have put your foot on the escalator, you need
Yes,
not
sir.
to do anything. The escalator moves itself. That may be
Yes,
the reason.
yes, sir. Also, sir, like government sector, like it's more structured, like compared to like rest of the functional functions are. So I think like there is some different because most of our students, like not most, like all of our students. Uh, so no, sir. Yes, sir. Got it. Yeah.
So we got
What am-
some questions.
Ji Sharif ji.
He's also asking, sir, participants for question. I think, sir, we have something. Yeah, sir. Like people are commenting in the chat section, so I
In
will
the
go
chat
one by
section,
one.
I'm looking at it.
Yes, sir.
Priyanka Rana has asked, how can experiential learning method be effectively integrated into traditional educational frameworks to enhance students' engagement and practical skill development? And how can we incorporate that participative learning into experiential learning? One. So somebody would like to answer it? We used to send some industrial visit and ask them to learn something and bring a report with connects with their academics.
So, sir, like subjects, like you can have certain type of experiences. We can like categorize with respect to the subject being taught to the students. So, like as part of MBA, we have different subjects. So, we engage in certain activities with respect to the subject.
This happens in the real life situation also.
Yes, sir.
I can quote one very small example of my experiential learning when I just stepped into the training institution, the Apex Training Academy of the Himachal Pradesh government, where all the IAS officer and the state civil services officers who come through the PCS exam, they land with us. Initially, when I joined, my director was from the IAS cadre, and eventually he was living in my neighborhood as well. The day one, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I got a call from him on the intercom. He asked, Rajiv, have you come? I said, yes, sir. How are you? I said, fine, sir. And then he just dropped the phone. It was intercom only. I'm
Yes.
talking about somewhere mid of the 2006,
Hmm.
quite ago. This mobile phone and WhatsApp, etc., were not very much familiar. Even smartphones were not there at that time. The same thing happened second day also. He called me around 2:30 and asked, Rajiv, are you there? How are you? And again, put down the phone. Third day, again, he did the same thing around 3:30. Asked, Rajiv, are you there? Sitting in the office, how are you? I hope you are having good spirits, good health. So this was the experience I had 3 consecutive days. How do I reflect upon it and draw some conclusion, some learning from this experience to dovetail into my life? What was it happening? Especially since you are into a business school and you are undertaking some communication exercises also. Which
Yes,
type
sir.
of communication it was?
Uh, Sir, feedback.
It is difficult to decode, especially with the bureaucrats or administrators. It is
Yes, sir.
difficult what they actually want to convey.
Yes, sir.
But what I learned from it, that I was not going to his office.
Okay.
He was always willing, if I am coming to office, I should go to his chamber, wish him once or greet him once, so that he also have a feeling that I am coming and communicating with him.
Okay.
So
Okay.
fourth day,
Yes, sir.
what I did, Right at 11 a.m., I went to his office. Then he said, "Oh, good, you have come. Take a seat, we will have a cup of tea."
So how
So
long
that
it
is
took you, sir,
experience.
to
It is
recognize that?
communicating with the people.
Okay.
He said, "I do not know anything on sitting this the topmost chair." It is only having communication with all of my faculty members, I come to know what is transpiring at the grassroots level or the ground level, where you are working with the office staff, you are working with the training participants. So experience can always be there in a small incident. Experience could be there in work environment, in your theory, in your class, in management class, in the science class, commerce class. That gives you some understanding every time.
Yes, sir.
Madam Priyanka Rana, I feel I have answered your question or still it has remained unanswered.
Yes, sir. There. Sir, another query is there from Miss Vandana Bala.
Yeah.
Sir, what strategies can help students improve their critical thinking and problem-solving skills?
If you want a child to learn the swimming, just throw them in the water. Is it?
Yeah, it is true,
In
sir.
economics, it is said once protected is always protected. जिस बच्चे को हम उंगली पकड़ के चलना सिखाएंगे ना और उंगली नहीं छोड़ेंगे, a child who is always holding the hand of the father or the mother, he will never learn to walk himself. Afford them the opportunity. Give them a event, create an enabling event. As a teacher, our job is to create an enabling event so that they learn the ground realities, understand the things, look for their own situation solutions. And in most of the times where I have experimented, I have seen that people come out with very good solutions. And sometimes you get that type of solutions which was actually not there in the say games book or your solutions book or your exercise book. The real life situations are altogether different. Depends how they take the challenge. If they are totally say passive students, not getting into the situation, then the solution is out of question. The idea is to create an enabling environment, create a learning event, give them the opportunity to churn their mind and come out with the solutions.
Yes, sir.
As a teacher, you are there to guide them. If any, say, holding of the steering so that the vehicle doesn't go into any off the road or goes into any gadha, etc. As a teacher, you have to guide them. Keep the second steering like the driver in the driving training school. He is having the second steering in the vehicle. So teacher can be holding that type of second steering just to keep them on the road. Stay focused on their steering, their speed, their accelerator, clutch, brake, etc. Role should be the facilitator and moderator. Like this science teacher always do in the lab. They tell the students that put this sulfuric acid into the water, not water into the sulfuric acid. Otherwise, sulfuric acid will jump towards the water and it can harm the person, can go to the eyes of the student as well. So one who has done this type of mischief once for whole of his life, he won't forget that teacher had told not to do it.
Yes, sir. But sir, like one point could be like professional courses are fast compared to non-professional courses. So, like if we are experimenting so much, it may harm like the professional like education the students are receiving. It could be a second order effect, sir, if we are doing much of experimentation.
This is something specific to some situation prevailing,
Yes,
but
sir.
it has its own solutions
Yes,
depending
sir.
upon the situation. It
Hmm.
may be transitional phase, it may be short-term problem,
Yes, sir.
it may be more focused, some type of pressures are there, administrative, systematic, or management pressures, or the pressures from the other sectors as well. But over the time, such pressures are dealt with and normalcy prevails.
Yes, sir. Is there any other question or query from the participant side?
So some questions are in chat box. They are dropped.
Achha, okay, I'll just check.
I'm also checking it.
Yes, sir. So last is from Dr. Ramachandra. Sir, how can we make technical students to walk into field and come out with a project? What level can we suggest this? Dr. Ramachandra, can you be little clear about this question? Like, what exactly you want to know?
Dr. Ramachandran is there.
He should be, sir. 1 second.
Sir, yes, sir, I'm there.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
I have
Sir,
a situation for you. Just
Yes,
I
sir.
feel you will be able to answer, respond to it. A student who has passed out from ITI, or student who has passed out from some engineering college, who has done BTech, who has a chance of better employability, the ITI passed or the student done BTech from the engineering college?
No, I just wanted to understand because we are teaching BTech students and we are making them to do project, start their project from third year. And
Yeah.
as sir rightly told, experiential learning also we are making them to do. And
Yes.
you rightly told that students should walk into the field, understand the problems, then come out with a solution.
Yes.
So I just wanted to know, can we start from year one or second semester or second year? So where can?
Field is a ambiguous word here.
Yes,
Field is
sir.
contextual. Contextual. It
Yes,
will
sir.
differ from discipline to discipline.
Yes, sir.
When I am talking about rural development, it is about villages. When
Yes.
you are talking about the industry, it is the industry particularly. Here, field means the industry in which sector they are working. To my understanding, the chances of person passing out from the ITI has a better option getting employment in comparison to the person doing BTech. What is the reason?
I think ITI people who are doing ITI and coming out, they are more practical in life.
Skill
You have the
based.
answer. I just
Skill
wanted
based
to have it
education.
from your side.
Yes, sir.
They
Thank you,
they are
sir.
working with the machines. They are into it. We are a country where all the experts who are working in the real field, they hardly have the technical knowledge. The person who comes to your home to correct your leaking tap or pipeline,
Correct,
he
sir.
hardly has any technical knowledge. The carpenter who is making furniture for your house, he hardly has any technical knowledge, any theory learned about it. Then again, the civil work doing that so-called mason, he hardly has done any civil engineering exercise or civil engineering degree or diploma with him. The type of mason we are having, they are just by experience. So all they have the competence by of their own experience. In most of the field, we find the same thing. It is with the electrician, it is with the person who is looking after our pressure cooker or our gas stove or anything technical we are having in the real life. People who are into the actual working, they do not have that theoretical knowledge. And the persons who are having theoretical knowledge, they are not practicing in most of the cases, except for the persons who are into the certain specialized field like doctors, especially the doctors who are practicing. We cannot think of sitting in a plane where the person is only having theoretical knowledge, who has never taken a flight. We cannot hop on such a plane. So depends.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, other than this, one very specific question, sir, from Mr. Khurshid Ahmed Pare. What is the basic difference between the ideas of David Klopp and John Dewey, experiential learning?
It is going to again consume much of my time. You can always Google it, get the idea. David Kolb model is based on the inputs of the different thinkers in this field. I have kept this presentation very simple. Otherwise, if I put in the diverger, assimilator, all those things, could have been difficult for you, for all of the persons attending this workshop. So idea is, if you are more interested in this, you can read the whole article. There are certain research articles also on it. Right now, I cannot say give you all the answers on this part. You can Google it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir. One more question, sir, from Dr. Deepthi Saxena. What strategies can we use to encourage reflection on personal experiences during learning modules?
Strategies.
Yes, sir.
I'm not finding this in the chat box by.
Dr. Deepthi Saxena. Oh, it was directly sent to me. 1 second, sir.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
sending it in the group.
Kindly please repeat it.
1 second, sir. So, what strategies can we use to encourage reflection on personal experiences during learning modules?
It is something like recreating the scene. I had shown you one clip from the movie.
Yes, sir.
That was the idea to understand it. Depends upon our cognitive mind. How do we analyze? How do we reflect upon the things? How do we get the conclusion? I have narrated one experience also. My interaction with my director getting into the after getting into the academy. So that depends. There could not be strategies, but over the time by hit and trial method, people tend to learn. And those who have the ability to learn over the time, they will learn. The difference will be only of the degree. How much time do somebody takes to learn? But if they have a guiding principle of values, their motivation, their inclination towards the task, that will guide them to learn. As teachers, as guides, as their mentors and facilitator moderators, our job is to create enabling environment.
Yes, sir. That was the last question in the chat box, sir. Thank you.
So we are through with the time also.
Uh, uh, Dr. Sharif?
Yes, yes, sir. Can we take pictures?
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll do.
For the
Requesting all the
participants.
participants if they can switch on the camera. We will take few screenshots. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, sir, for this very valuable lesson. And I hope all my colleagues will be able to incorporate this into the future classes, sir.
So it has been my pleasure. I take your leave. Thank you very much for patience listening.
Thank you very
Dr.
much, sir.
Sharif, thank you also.
Thank you so much, sir, for nice presentation. This lectures was very informative, sir. You get to know a lot of things.
Pleasure is all mine. I'm privileged and indebted. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Professor Mohanty. How are you?
Good evening.
How are you?
Nice
It's a
to see
pleasure to
you.
see you.
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, all good. Thank you so much for making time for our faculty. It's a
Thank you for
pleasure.
inviting.
Thank you so much. So everyone, we are very happy to introduce the second speaker for day 2 today. We have Dr. Pratap Chandra Mohanty. He is a prominent figure in the field of economics, particularly known for his research on healthcare and development. He obtained his PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi in 2014, where he focused on the economics of the digital divide and development. His academic journey also includes an MPhil in development economics and a master's in economic development and planning. Currently, he serves as an associate professor at IIT Roorkee, a position he has held since December 2021. His extensive publication record features articles in well-respected journals where he explores themes such as healthcare expenditure, health-seeking behaviors, and the socioeconomic challenges faced by marginalized populations. Dr. Mohanty's work continues to influence the field of economics and public health, making significant strides towards understanding and addressing the complex issues at the intersection of these domains. And once again, we are very happy to welcome him to NDIM's ATAL FDP. And today, Dr. Mohanty would be sharing his rich experience and thoughts on assessing SDG learning outcomes. Over to you, Dr. Mohanty. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tina. It's indeed my pleasure to have interacted with NDIM, and special thanks to Dr. Sarif as well. He has been in constant touch on and off the social media. So I am quite happy that NDIM has been progressing very well. And even from starting from the scratch till the outcome, I've seen all your efforts in getting these projects through ATAL channel and through the AICTE. So wonderful journey so far. Yeah, appreciate it. And giving me a space with understanding the particular module, especially on the learning outcomes through the SDGs. I think this is indeed necessary in the present time. Just to check, to carry you all for another 1.5 hour session, I think it's always wise to check whether the receiving end is good or not. You have been probably attending other sessions. I can see there are 156 here, maybe around roughly 150 plus participants. So you must have been attending several sessions. You may give me, Dr. Sarif, you may give me some background of the of the participants, faculties.
These are all
So accordingly, I'll.
Yeah, these are all
Yeah.
faculty from different institutions pan India, and they represent
Okay.
different states and disciplines. And some of them are even administrative personnels in the universities and colleges. And they're here to understand how to integrate SDGs into various aspects of academic learning, assessments, etc.
Okay. Nice. So they have been attending since morning or from the afternoon?
So this started yesterday, and the timings
Hmm.
are from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
6 p.m. through 9 p.m. All right. So nice to have this background. There are a number of things to incorporate to have a clear direction map to understand SDG in learning outcomes. The idea is really nice, but to conceptualize and to make it little structured, we have to go beyond the classroom, teachings. It has to be emerged from the research. A good teacher is usually a good researcher. Yes, I'll start from there. And a good researcher cannot be guaranteed as a good teacher. Yes, so that way, I think the SDGs or the NEP has given a number of directions. The new education policy has categorically emphasized in a various way. So I think it's my way of handling the lectures, what I used to do to actually connect with people. Without connection and expressing some ideas or interaction, it's really bad to take a 1.5 hour session. It's very difficult to speak for 5 minutes, isn't it, in a good forum? And that too, they are the faculties. Okay, so though I speak for long, but just speaking, I think, is not ideal. Okay, so they might have some expectations. Let me count some expectations from the beginning, then there will be interventions. So anyone in this 100 plus participants, 150 plus participants, anyone can express your idea by saying directly instead of typing through the chat box. You can start expressing. And before expressing, it's also good for a teacher to have better eye contact. Without eye contact, teacher cannot able to deliver. Though I have my own online modules, there are MOOC modules through NPTEL. There are 4 modules I have. I'll systematically present these before you. And also I will try my best to equip with some software understanding, and to manage the large scale survey data on for education, how educational outcome can be better if you check with the large scale survey data. So these are the way I will be doing. However, I wanted to listen from the participants first. What kind of expectation in this particular lecture? It should not be too general, like, sir, expectations are going to be very good. Okay, so if you have some particular direction for understanding from the lecture, I will try my best to cater to those. Anyone, please? I have also had interaction with Atulji last time,
Yes,
and
sir.
he used to sum
Awesome.
up things very well. I really appreciate. So, anyone, any participants want to speak something?
Extremely sorry, sir.
Yeah.
My net connection was down, sir. I couldn't follow up, sir.
So participants, Dr. Mohanty is requesting if any of you has any expectations for this session, please unmute yourself and share. and have your camera on for him so that he can have more eye contact. Any participant, please unmute and share your expectations. What would you want to learn from his session today? Maybe a couple of lines.
May I start?
Yes, please. Process.
Yes. Say basically, I'm a founder of one of the startup company where we are bringing traditional herbal drinks as a functional beverage for the lifestyle related issues. That is what the job that we are in. And I'm looking for some sort of a sustainable packing, and whatever we are talking, we want to put it in practice. But the industry is very tough. We are finding it difficult to get the products or materials to do that. And if we are doing so, our cost is on a higher side, not able to manage or market that particular product in the market because the cost is increasing. Second is educating the people on our own tradition is a bit difficult this point of time. Even though they understand, most of the people believe Google and other thing, and it is all off-cooked messages or information is available, and making them to understand the right way of health is a bit difficult. And it is today the biggest problem is educating, and making them to unlearn and learn is the challenge that I am facing personally. This is my 4.5, 5 years I am in this business, and this is what my difficulties are. I'm here participating in this particular program to get some sort of a solution, or maybe I'm in the rat race. I'm not coming out of my framework. Probably I'm looking for, is there is anybody who can make me to think differently and come out of this rat race and think different fashion, how to cope up with the competition market, how to educate the people, how to overcome this particular situation. So these are all my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. It's too precise. Thank you. Any other perspectives to start the lecture correctly in a direction?
Or sir, could be like we can you can include some best practices with respect to technical education.
Yes. Okay, I'll cite my own institute's experience, in handling number of things,
Yes, sir.
especially for the, BTech students, how they have been educated in number of directions. Okay, so, and I was also heading their mess, having more than 1,000 of students, and how I also got the best prize in terms of the holistic design of the hostel, as well as the best utilizations of the resources, especially food and its management. So those citations, I'll do it in between. Okay, so any other expectations, then only things will go in a direction. Otherwise, there's no point of holding you for 1.5 hours time. Okay. So I can hold you. That my promise is I can hold you for even 2 hours, 3 hours. It depends on what really we want. Since I'm interacting with variety of faculties, practitioners, so the expectation might be a little different. And as I just got the idea that there are Shiv Kumar ji, is having startup and really um, presented before us how to go for this learning techniques to have better flow of the startups. So let's have 1 or 2 more ideas if anyone here wants to share.
Is there any other participant who wants to pitch in with some points?
You can write as well. There's no issue. Probably you are not connected with mic.
You can write in the
Then
chat
write.
box if some participant have some audio related problem, like we will read it out from there.
There are two interpretations usually. People feel scared why to be exposed unnecessarily. Okay, so
Yes.
you can also write. There is no issue. And I used to be a teacher throughout my career, so I always prefer to listen first. Then
Sir,
yes, yes.
Sir, shall I submit the details about the climate change subject which we had as a mandatory course as a part of our curriculum?
Okay.
So the evaluation method, direct evaluation methods, we did it for 100 marks, sir, of which 10 marks we assigned for attendance. Remaining 30 marks we gave for MCQs, multiple choice questions. We had 5 units. Each unit we covered around for 6 hours. And for the remaining 60 marks, it has been split up as activity, sir. Assignment activity, presentation activity, and a field visit activity. Student visited the in-house sewage treatment plant. They also visited the herbal garden in our college. And some students visited the nearby air quality stations, science and technology department. So before and after high polluted days, how the quality of air is there. After raising awareness, how it was there. All those things were measured, sir. So this is what I would like to share, sir.
Okay, good. So I've just noted, I will address it by talk. Fine.
Hello.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Rajesh, please.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. So this myself Rajesh Sharma, and I'm working in CSR sector. So my concern is particular skill development concern. So if we see the formal vocational education in India, about it is 3 to 4%, as compared to other countries like Korea, there is 96%, other developed countries. But in India, industrial revolutions are growing rapidly. So how we can bridge this gap, demand and supply of the industry and our unemployed youth, because we have a huge unemployed youth in our country and young population across the world. So how we can materialize this population in a productivity rather than liability of our nation? This is my concern, sir.
Okay, good point. I have also noted this. Observe the youth population through vocational education. All right. Any other point?
Sir, there is one point in the chat box. This is from Ms. Priyanka. How to bring in the behavioral change in practice and not just limiting it to a classroom session.
All right. Okay, I think another point is also there. All right. Okay, I have noted you are Mr. Prabhuji. You are working with Department of Information Technology, Mannakula Binagar Engineering College, Puducherry. All right. Okay. Okay, still someone is writing any metrics for evaluating outcomes. Okay, good point. These things actually reminded me to emphasize metrics. Fine. Any other good that you have been writing and then giving me impetus to emphasize some of the important directions. So I've actually noted all your points. So in different sheets, I'll emphasize for sure. Okay. And okay, in between you can also express your ideas, views. Let me start the session formally by discussing some of the background understanding of learning outcomes as part of the SDGs. I will share my screen, though it's not that structured. I didn't get much time to focus on it. And though the NDIM has connected me long back, I was actually traveling throughout the time. So still, I'll give you the idea of for doing research in this field and where to get the data and how to have different matrices to evaluate these outcomes. So I think let me share the screen here. So I hope it is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir, it is.
The screen is not coming. Yes. Okay. To start with understanding the the SDG learning outcomes, we all know that different goals of the SDGs are there, but those goals are also highly connected to each other, except the goal number 17. Most importantly, we start with explaining the goal number 4 on education. However, as some of us just emphasize that it's not the education per se, it's actually connected to equality, understanding equity in distribution of resources. It's related to environmental awareness, and also cross-checking each of the progress in different indicators. So as to visualize you once again on this, some of the rationale I have mentioned here, but not necessarily the best rationale. As I just said, the idea of re-emphasizing on learning outcomes is to foster, a great degree of inclusiveness, equity, and quality in education. As the SDG goals are largely focusing on poverty, education, health, gender equality, and climate change. Hence, if we by any direction can get these data set and their variables in detail to our table, we can really analyze the module correctly. Okay, so let me quickly take you through this first in the screen. If you are not aware of for this, you may stop me. I think it is visible, this map, India map.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes,
okay, it's taking a little time. So let me go back and guide you from the beginning. How many of you have seen this Niti Aayog contribution towards understanding SDGs? Anyone has gone through in detail of this page? You can just write in the chat box. I'll cross check. Now going to the depth of each of the indicators, we will have so much of information about different states and their achievement in SDG index, and then we'll emphasize on the goal number 4. It's taking time. Probably the speed of internet is an issue. So I'll also discuss somewhere on identifying the achiever states, then the aspirational states, so that those who are planning for a pan-India, analysis of the learning outcomes, so can actually write a good paper and proceed accordingly. My background is not purely from any industry, though our industry is at a higher education level. I'm a faculty in engineering college, IIT. So we used to teach from a scientific point of view by referring to the earlier or the existing knowledge or the literature. So so whatever I'll say, I will try to refer through the data. Okay, I'm at this moment, these may not be that relevant for your own industry or your own application, but I'm sure if you go into the depth of this, probably will get more ideas. It's still taking time. I don't know why. Anyway, let me in between start by emphasizing these things. So what really happened over time in Indian context, so far as education is concerned? So I'll discuss some of the initiative from the policy. Also, I'll discuss the budget allocations. My field is economics, so I will try to narrate or analyze from the perspective of the allocation of resources. Okay? And over the time, even if you compare the pre-1991 and the post economic reforms period, so 91 onwards, though India had to face number of difficulties, especially in its balance of payment problems. So education was quite expected to be neglected. Hence, the focus by the Indian planning unit for the education and its allocation of our budget was roughly around or less than 3%, 4%. So the primary focus during that time was for the key focus was on primary education and literacy and rural education. So why? Because the Indian percentage for each of the direction was not that good as compared to international standard. Okay? And especially in the post-economic reforms, the major initiative that was taken with the goal of universal access to education. There are some of the programs such as district primary education programs, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, that type of steps were actually initiated. From 2000 to 2005, the budget still there was very meager percentage rise in the allocation for this. One of the important achievement which government, one of the important steps which government started with the hope of achieving, universal education, especially at the primary level. So, or to improve infrastructure. One act was actually, emphasized, that was Right to Education Act, RT, which has a clear signal for quality of education and its infrastructure. Okay. So, and then from 2005 till 2010, the emphasis were also one, secondary education and then quality improvement in education. So the initiative was on Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan for secondary education, as well as the famous scheme that was introduced through midday meal scheme. As we all know that in India has gone through number of challenges in its implementation for MDM scheme, and it varies, of course, from state to state. Though it is a universal scheme and centrally designed scheme, but the way of implementation of the MDA to have better learning outcome at the primary level was actually little different. The item that was that is considered in the meal is also varying from state to state. So idea of these initiatives to have higher enrollment ratio and also have higher absorption rate. And there are a number of paper I can just tell you quickly that how this really works. Anyone interested to in my field is also on understanding the equality and equity aspects of education and healthcare. So if anyone interested to have ideas on how to have systematic understanding of the existing work and to have a bibliometric presentations, I will be happy to also address that. So just to know that what is the success of the MDM scheme, let me start with one quick search here. I'll just search this later. I hope the Scopus database is visible to you, Scopus page.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. Scopus contains number of scientific articles across the globe to understand the learning outcome of the SDGs in various ways. There are various articles. I just searched through these and found there are 58 documents emphasizing the different way of understanding educational outcomes through SDGs. So the recent work is actually utilizing the ChatGPT and AI or the interventions through the AI to have quick or the better outcome in education. So since you are the faculties, also maximum of you are faculties working in different places, I'm sure you might have gone through this page. And usually this is a paid, pays our institutions has subscribed to it. And accordingly, we can download our database and that is usually useful for further bibliometric analysis. We usually take BibTeX and other or CSV files out of it. But given the present participation, I may not emphasize much on this, but let us start with MDM, as I just said, MDM, midday meals. Midday meal. And education. So probably the search is not correct. So MDM might be a better search. So there are 71 documents which mention the importance of MDM in different, but MDM I really don't know what it has actually. Oh, meal MILL I mentioned. Okay, therefore, just give me a moment. So I will search through these. Meal scheme may be mentioned, or maybe through this we'll get some idea. Midday meal scheme and education. The management of government grant aided primary schools in Goma sub-country in another district in Uganda. Probably they have also such type of scheme. Implication on school performance and stability. This is one article. I'm just directly searching the article which are very relevant for the present lecture. Sustainable education through government schemes for educational attainment and development. So empirical evidence from rural India. Let me just have a check on this. this article first. So this is the article published in Building Climate and Neutral Economies Through Digital Business and Green Skills. Okay, so the articles discuss about the role of government schemes, how it is very much helpful for educational attainment and development. How to present it in a better way, let me also simultaneously explain some other achievement, then other directions of SDGs, then I'll come back to the interpretation of these articles. Okay. So I was discussing about the role of midday meal scheme and educational outcome as an initiative taken during the 2005-15 period, and it has been instrumental for a better evolution at the primary level. From 2010 to 14, again, if you check these records, the budget allocation is still at a very low level as compared to other field. However, one of the initiative taken by government, to expand the access to secondary education and improving the vocational education and the skills. So the National Vocational Education Qualification Framework (NVQF) was actually emphasized to have skill development and vocational training. I'll just pinpoint some of the few other aspects. Then we'll go back to the direct estimation and calculation, then also emphasize some of the matrices to evaluate, the educational outcome. Okay, and where to get the data of these things. My field is largely statistics and economics, and I used to handle big data, big survey data. So that way, probably I can justify the lecture. And might be useful for you to have scientific paper writing. And so 2014 with the 2014 to 19 is the first spell of the new government, the NDA after the in the present government emphasize Skill India, Startup India, and Make in India, such type of important dimensions for having better focus for enriching higher education and skill development and improving educational outcomes. So one of the another directions which the education institutions are actually guided, that is none other than the NIRF ranking, the National Institutional Ranking Framework for Higher Education. This has actually also given certain directions for the education institution to ensure quality. So I'm not going into the deep aspects of each of the direction aspects of the NIRF. I am trying to touch upon how the educational outcomes are actually shaped out through different policies. From 27 to 2018, 4% of the national budget was actually allocated, roughly around 85,000 crore. That's focused on the quality and infrastructure and higher education. So the R&D expenditure was specifically emphasized during that period. From 2020 to 2021, the Digital India and its role in education, remote learning, and adaptation to COVID-19 disruptions were actually in focus. COVID-19 has actually given some idea or some force, some degree of force to adopt to digital education. So number of courses to have better educational outcome, number of MOOC courses or online courses started, and how these have actually catered to the need of the Indian students in remote locations, if in somehow they are connected with digital tools or internet, they are also benefited with better quality education. So one of the channels by which government wanted to, wish to have this achieved, it was through the Digital India program and NEET, National Educational Alliance for Technology. Another last couple of things to emphasize, then we'll move to the databases. There's 2021 to 2022. The new education policy was enforced from 2020. National education policy, not the new education policy. So NEP 2020 implementation increased the focus on digital learning, skill development, and teacher training. So in a nutshell, through these couple of entries in this table, we try to understand some of the directions how policies are actually framed and taking a leap forward to have better educational outcome. Of course, there are a number of challenges. Even if we are saying that these are the attempts, how far it is achieved, etc., it is very difficult to judge it. We need to have scientific temperament. We need to have scientific data to evaluate, or the survey should be well designed to understand correctly. Now, to align my understanding for educational outcome through SDGs. SDGs is a clear focus. Some of us mentioned that we should have best practices, should have some sharing of experience of best practices in educational institutions. I will, of course, share my thoughts. And some of the experts here, some of the participants here mentioned about the role of environmental indicators in school pedagogy to have better educational outcomes. And awareness and the ethical standards, in my understanding, is going to play a strong role instead of a forceful implementation of these things, because it has to be imbibed in our system through holistic learning. So whatever I'll say, instead of just saying these words, I will rather focus on these things through data. Okay, so starting with the SDG 1 and no poverty, how far our educational outcomes are aligned, or educational initiatives are aligned. So especially through the NEP design of 2020, so the focus was given on equitable access to education, especially for marginalized and disadvantaged groups. Okay, let me take a pause for maybe 1 minute. Am I proceeding correctly in line with the expectations? Some views maybe so far.
Yes, sir, it's all right, sir.
Okay. So actually, I have so many things to share. I will share some databases, the raw databases, the survey databases, where we'll extract some of those important dimensions to work and understand the educational outcomes. Okay, so let me proceed then. So what I just said is this. All right. So to understand SDGs and its implementation and the educational outcome, the first SDG goal was with no poverty. Is with no poverty. So in the NEP framework, equitable access is clearly outlined, and and the impact would be expected, and there are a number of articles where the people have already done survey and understand the positive impact of these on redressing poverty. This ensures that all children, irrespective of socioeconomic status, have access to quality education, breaking the cycle of poverty. Second one is zero hunger. As we all know that the target of these things is by 2030. Now, I'm sure those targets are expected to be, again change in number of directions, especially in the case of zero hunger. Though midday meal scheme has been instrumental, and the number of revisions were made in the scheme to address the problems of nutrition challenges in India. One of the database those who are interested to work further as part of a research, let me mention here, I used to work with data. I will directly open in front of you and guide you how to check. One of the database is called Young Life Survey. Young Life Survey by Oxford, University of Oxford database. Data. So to check how far MDM has actually changed the lives of the poor or the people, this database will help you a lot in understanding these things. So the data you can download using this. Let me give you some background of this data set. The data set is on young lives. Of course, the University of Oxford, University of Oxford, tried to have a cohort-based study, longitudinal cohort-based study. And this is actually called a cohort database. Cohort, they started with with age group, different age group, from starting from childhood till another age, then another cohort, then another cohort. Now, categorically, the database included five different rounds. So 5 different rounds, and the latest round was completed in March 2017. So starting from the age 0 till every 5 years, study included, the journey of a child. So most importantly, it has clearly addressed the aspect related to nutrition. And this study was conducted in 4 countries simultaneously. So 4 developing countries. And then India is among them. Though India, they focused on Telangana and Hyderabad area. However, their methodology is so robust that they claim that this is also representing to Indian states. So rest of the details, I think if there are more clarity, of course, required for this, I'll suggest you to follow my own model, to understand this data set correctly. This is through my model, survey data on healthcare, data on healthcare, available in NPTEL. This is calling for registration at this moment. So exploring survey data in healthcare, there are these number of registration last time. So I think they started registering again, which is free of cost. And this provides FDP also, FDP certificate by AICTE. I'm just not marketing this. I know that I have clarified number of tools to handle large data sets. I'll just tell you by my name. So this is the data set where 416 have already enrolled. 10, it requires exam registrations to get the FDP certificate. This is an AICTE approved FDP course, so you will be benefited. I think the last date of this enrollment is 27 January. And after that, they usually don't allow. They are very rigid with the date. And why am I saying these things? For you to get your work published in good journal? Because of this reason. Let me quickly open some of the approach, some of the raw data sets, which is very useful, and I've guided in this module. So let me just have a focus on this. Just give me a moment. So we usually handle the data set which are available, and I'll also guide you where to download the data set. This is the raw data which is provided by the ministry to evaluate, to assess each of the respondents. Okay, and in various indicators, maybe it is related to education, maybe related to health. So I'll clarify. Given this time, constraint, I'll surely clarify. Just background information. Let me tell you that this has contained 5,55,352 rows. Okay, 52 respondents. Okay, and the raw data is actually provided by the ministry, Minister of Statistics and Program Implementation. So the data set which you may also work, if you are interested to work with education, I'll refer you to open this page. Should I give you the link in chat box as well for you to follow correctly and work later? Are you all following?
Yes, please do share.
Okay, maybe do you think it will be useful? Social consumption, health, education. Insist download. Yes, so I started by referring. This is the document of provided by Government of India. This is called the secondary document. I am now guiding you to actually follow the raw data, the primary data provided by Government of India in a large setting. As I just show you that the number of observations at pan-India level was of 5,55,000. And the raw data were provided. So if you know the skill, tools, techniques, I'm 100% sure you will get into a better outcome in terms of publication. So this is the report they have published. If you're following this report and analyzing, this is purely called secondary data analysis. So there is hardly any novelty lies with your analysis. So let me quickly stick to this. This is which round is it? This is of 2017-18. And since this is all India level and the scale of the survey is too huge, usually these are not called old data. These are still called fresh data because number of indicators hardly change, like their demographic profile, like their like their caste, their religion, their place of domicile. Hardly these changes. These get changed. Hence, this data set has huge value. Let me stick to the question here. Yes, I'm sure it will create some interest for you. The detailed questionnaire on education. Then I will refer you DICE dataset also, which is developed by the NUPA and along with another dataset by NCRT in New Delhi. I have been in close connect with these institutions earlier, so I know at the core aspects of their design. So like this has covered number of things. What is the the person, the household who have responded this questionnaire, they ask about their social groups, household type, religion, etc. Most importantly, they checked each state-wise responses, and they focused on these things: how much expenditure is incurred by the person, the level of current enrollment, the basic course, type of residence, whether in the hostel or in other, whether the student or the person who responded this. The design you will try to understand later. I'm not emphasizing at this moment. Now, current level of education enrollment in the basic course, they have covered like non-formal, pre-formal, pre-primary education, primary education, upper primary, these are the categories mentioned very clearly. Then in the another page of the questionnaire, they discuss about whether they have completed the education or not, and whether it is technical education or not, or general education. Then status of enrollment, whether able to operate a computer, whether able to use internet, whether used internet during last 30 days. Okay, so and vocational training related questions are there, whether having certificate of disability and still pursuing higher education or different education. So you'll get various ideas. So these detailed codes are given the next page, and disability they have covered, whether mental disability, visual, hearing, speech, multiple disabilities or not, and language, whether it is creating trouble to the people, and the media of instructions related questions. Then I'm just touching upon some of the things in a later program or the course. I will actually re-emphasize. In between, you may follow my course, my module. I did somewhere. Okay. Okay. Just give me a moment. I will in PTL. I think I already opened this. Just give me a moment. I'll come back to this and clarify you. So this is my another course running at this moment, but I'm suggesting you to follow this. This has given the guidance on handling Stata software. This is an exploring survey data. So this calls for registration at this moment. I'm just putting this here in the chat box. So is there any part of this survey conducted digitally? Yes, the answer is yes. And once you go through this document and my presentations in my module, I'm 100% sure you get this. Let me give you the link of my module, and also some of the reports which I have just got it, or I've been working in this direction, and I'll just add it here. It will be highly useful for you to write good paper, good at least in Q1 level paper. Then this is the one. I'll also suggest you to follow the original micro data, where you can download the data that I've just shown here. Where to get this original field level survey data. This is also called primary data provided by Government of India to the researchers. Anyone has gone through earlier of this kind of data at a large scale setting? Anyone here? Have you seen this kind of survey data provided by Government of India on education, or any other module? Okay. You can also express in writing if you can. Okay, let me guide you. There are in this module I have clarified. Oh, this is another one. Okay. This is another one. Okay. So I have clarified, each of the aspects, like emphasizing how to use data to analyze this and how to extract this raw data. This is in ASCII format, and how to extract this and present it in systematic, tables, how to get the results. So handling of this data and merging of the data, etc. Are actually systematically guided. There are 30 lectures. There are around 30. This is 40 lectures. Sorry, 40 lectures, each of around 30 minutes. If you register there, it is free of cost. But if you want to get, the certificate, after completion, the NPTEL is very serious and take, exam in the designated exam places, and for that they charge probably, some amount, 1,000 rupees. Somewhere it is written. It is conducted by, coordinated by IIT Madras. So there is hardly any, contact on this direction with us directly. So it is their duty to manage it. So you may get in connect with them through this registration. And these are very systematic, and this course has been running over last 5 years successfully. So I suggest strongly for you to follow, and you will be benefited out of it. Now, my next aspect is to understand how we can get these raw data from different sources. Okay, and then in between, I'll emphasize other directions, like whether MDM is successful or not. Whether nutritional schemes are good or bad. How to evaluate these. These are all sub part of educational outcome. When I say educational outcome, there is no single indicator to justify with any answer. We need to decode to smaller subcategories, then can address its outcome. So for that we need data or need survey. So to download the data, let me start by introducing NSS data download. NSS data download education. So I'll share the link in the chat box. I'm sure this is not the one. I wanted the original data. It's on what? This is on education. NSS 75th round conducted this survey, and let me put it in the chat box. Okay, so I'll suggest you that please as a faculty, you might be expected to produce good research articles on educational outcomes, or if you are working on education. Yeah. Anyone is saying something?
No, sir, just random noise, I think.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. And the design of the survey, etc., are outlined here, and there's some of the basic clarifications are given. I am not going to depth of these things, since my topic of presentation or the clarification is a little different. I thought better to visualize you with these original information, which would really help you to get things published. Since all are now, as per the NEP, most important indicator is its publication. So data description, everyone is suggested to, if you are serious enough to work with this and get it published, these PDF documents should be downloaded. But the original data is available here. Get the micro data. Okay, so this requires registration, and registration is free. So you can just simply register with your college ID, with your employee ID, whatever. And I have already registered, and they sent my confirmation to my mail. You can do it later. Let me also give this link to you. So this is the source to get the original data. And if you want your paper to be published in top, journal, I think this is one of the way to guide you and to get it published in better journals. Okay, so here the ministry is asking that what is the estimated number of users. You can just randomly mention, 105, whatever. You may mention 5, 10, and this is NSS data, National Sample Survey data. Then provide a justification. You can simply mention useful for this training and research and training. Okay. Then with this checkbox, if we submit, so it will direct you to get the raw data. So here is the source to get the raw data. I have just, it is in .rar format. You can download. So once you download the raw data, it will look like this. Let me just try to download. It is a 14.98 09 MB. I'm sure it will be quickly downloaded. Yes, I've got the data downloaded to my system. Let me quickly come to it and explain. So it is in RAR file. I think RAR file requires installation. Okay, now I'm sure you can get the data, but it will look like this. The way I just opened. Let me open that folder here. Okay, so where is that? Here. So you will get all these things in detail. So ASCII or different levels they've covered. So each of the data set, like this one is of 5,55,000 plus. This is of around, let me open and let me tell you how much in the coverage. It is of 1,13,823. The ministry actually, or the Statistical Commission, the National Statistical Office has actually defined the survey in different levels, different layers. Okay, so hence there are some more responsive in some layers, and there are less responsive in some other layers. You also need to download supplementary documents. So supplementary documents we should have a README file. A README file is very essential. These guides where are all the data. I have already opened and shown you the text file. Yeah, I said that the data covers 5,55,352 observations. Observations means respondents, and they responded various questions. The number of questions are also very huge. And if somebody is interested to work with National Family Health Survey related to women and educational outcome, okay, another database is very essential. If you are really interested, National Family Health Survey, it is related to emphasizing more on education related to healthcare and role of women. So that's on NFHS dataset. If I check the questionnaire, NFHS questionnaire is very huge. Let me open once in front of you. You can just let me know by the time it gets opened. You can let me know if this is the direction also little unusual and useful. Otherwise, I will actually come back and discuss the general aspects of SDGs, the learning outcomes, matrices, etc. If this is somewhat useful, I'll emphasize more on this. Am I connecting correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any response from the participants? I've already taken almost more than 1 hour, some interventions are required. Some questions, observations so far?
No, sir. Even in chat, I don't see any queries.
I've seen no query. More you ask, I'll cater to the need more, and I'm sure usually I handle 1 week module on this to
Okay, sir.
extract, to present, and to write a good paper. And then only we can go to a field and explain correctly to the respondent, and we can conduct a systematic survey, not through questionnaire, through schedules. So so the questionnaire is still taking time to get downloaded. So let me in between focus on these first, then I'll come back to
Yes,
it.
sir.
Okay, so sticking to SDG and the NEP, I've just started mentioning that in different indicators of the SDGs, the NEP has provision, and especially for the SDG 3 on good health and well-being. The health round, which I was explaining, is going to be very useful, and I'm sure will be you can go through. So for the SDG 4, especially on quality of education, the NEP has strong provision on universalization of education and quality of education. So especially through some of the ranking indicators through NIRF and through approaches for robust curriculum, teachers training, and innovative teaching method is really helpful. Then it's not just the SDGs and learning outcomes. We need to also think of gender balance and equality, so that the educational outcome is going to be good, which many countries in the world have actually reached to that achievement level. So gender inclusivity is going through our government programs like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao movement, or the program has actually been leapfrogging in this direction. So one of you explained that how to have the pedagogy in school level to simultaneously think of one of the SDG goal is clean water and sanitation. So one of the database mentioned, as I just said, was called WAS. Let me also refer that WSH. I'm sure it will be useful for you. WSH WAS database of NSS round. This is considered to be the best, to understand very correctly for evaluating the sanitation, water, sanitation, hygiene, and housing condition. This has covered again more than 2 lakhs of observations. So I'll also give you a link if you really explore. And I know the techniques to extract and present in Stata software, Stata or SPSS software, or in SAS software. So in my module here, I discuss in detail about Stata software, also given some directions for SPSS. So if any one module you are thorough with, one package you are thorough with, rest of the packages are usually very easy to follow. So let me also give you in the chart box for this. So thank you for knowledgeable session. You have just mentioned this. So I've given this also, and regarding the download data, etc., the ministry has given a PDF. Now you just click here, rest of the data will be downloaded directly from here. Like 4 lakh, just a minute, just 4,66,527 observation, individual responses were counted to understand the sanitation level or WAS level in different institutions and organizations. So it is related to drinking water, sanitation, hygiene, and housing conditions. If I just click over here, there's a hand edge is directed, so you can just simply click. The raw data is actually in your screen. Okay, so this is too huge. As I just said, it is more than some lags. It has covered. Then you can simply copy and paste in. Simply select this. Select all. Okay. Select all. Then copy these and paste in Notepad. So that will be your raw data. And government hardly has disturbed this data. They have directly given the primary data to us to apply the right tools and techniques to have better results. So I used to handle these sessions for at least 2 to 3 days, usually for 5 days. Clarify how to handle and get a good paper published. So in different institutions, I used to be invited for this. It is too huge. It's actually hanging. Let me go back. Okay. Still it's hanging. All right. So by that time, let me focus on the directions where we can able to work later. So similarly, those who are interested to work with decent work, SDG and the NEP has given a strong focus, especially highlighting the vocational education and skill development, with focus on entrepreneurship and job readiness. So the skill upliftment through Startup India, and Digital India program has given a great signal. And SDG 9 with the NEP also focuses on the infrastructure issues, especially the digital inclusion aspects. So in all the way, the NEP focusing on addressing the how to reduce inequalities. Similarly, sustainable cities and communities as part of the NEP focuses. NEP address the issues like smart school initiative and promotion of sustainable campuses. I think I should not emphasize all those details, otherwise we may not justify some of the section. Similarly, the SDG 13 on climate action, promotion of environmental education and eco-friendly practice in schools, colleges, and communities. And instead of reading, general articles, magazine articles, I'll suggest you to actually work with the core data, which I was trying to expose and to explain. If you address the core survey design and those responses, I'm sure your analysis is much different than others. Some of the other databases I used to refer along with these are here. Okay, like NSS data I was just explaining, that is called NSO, National Statistical Office. They provide educational data along with the NSS data, point number 4. So beside this, you will get some data available in Ministry of Education. UDICE is also providing information, Unified District Information System for Education. This is through NIPA. NIEPA institute located in Delhi, and this is a very good database to work for education or with education data. And beside that, we have database like All India Survey on Higher Education, National Achievement Survey, National Repository of Open Education Resource, NROER, Right to Education Portal, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, National Portal on Education Management Information System, EMIS is also there. Then NEP, monitoring data. Usually these are not open documents, but my strong suggestion is point number 4 and then point number 3. So as a researcher or as a faculty, I think this will be instrumental for you to work with. I know that it is taking little time to convert this raw data in presentable format. Such tools and techniques I explained in my module very correctly. So on specifically on women and its role on education, I was just trying to give you some direction on this. I think, yes, this is a report though. This is of 715 pages. Let me open something here. One question here. It's just give me a moment. I'll just. This is the complete report. And all these results can be derived from the raw data. Whatever is visible here, given in the government report, we can, we're using the tools and techniques, we can also derive the original results and also differentiate differently. Differentiate these results in a different way. Let me, I think it's question, which is here. Oh, maybe here. Okay, just a moment.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, can the information obtained through RTI regarding this student fundings which they are receiving, can that also be used for our research, sir, or any other permissions we have to get from the concerned public authority, sir?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Your question is valid. I think since RTI, the mandate of RTI is to disseminate the information to public. If you get the information without any asking to the authority in a question format, they are not going to share. Once they are sharing, it is an open document. You can easily disseminate further. I don't think nobody is going to restrict you. Do you have other questions or you
Yes,
want
sir.
any other specific?
One more, sir.
Yeah, please.
Similarly, the data which are being displayed for social audit, that also we can use it, sir?
Yes, can be utilized.
Thank you, sir.
Utilized for dissemination. I'm 100% sure for this. Okay, I'm actually downloading another question here just to showcase that how as a researcher, as a faculty, it is going to be very useful to work. Okay, I have downloaded the questionnaire of the National Family Health Survey. This has a strong direction for doing research and education with the role of women. We know very well that education and its outcome is going to be much better and robust if a woman is actually literate and women is actually aware of all sort of the directions given in the SDGs. So this questionnaire is of 96 pages. You can see, all the pages are filled up. Okay. Now the response, 96, the entire question set, especially for women, is of 96 pages. Okay. And the number of respondents in this round covered by the government is of 27 lakhs. Okay. These databases are freely available to the researchers with simple registration without paying anything. And then to handle this data set, of course, you require some training, some learning. One of my module I have just guided you. Another module I used to suggest, this will be floated in the next semester, handling large scale unit level data. So they usually open it up in the next semester. They will open in the July session, not now. So this says clear guidance of how to handle these data sets using a software. And Stata, the Stata office provides sample software. The software for the use freely for a week time. Okay, so we have also guided those things in detail. All right, so instead of putting more emphasis here, let me give you some more directions. So the NEP 2020 addressing SDGs in different rounds through inclusive and equitable education in SDGs. Yeah, you have some query? Okay, so SDGs 1, 4, 5, and 10 addressing inclusive and equitable education. SDG 4 we know already. SDG 9 and 4 on digital learning and technological integration. SDGs 8, 4, 9 on skill development and vocational training. SDGs 12, 13 related to sustainability and environment education. Health and well-being in SDG 3. Now, the couple of slides here are going to guide you whether we are doing justice in terms of budget allocation or in terms of progress in SDGs. So the time is very short. I'm almost hitting 9. So these are there. I think I need not emphasize. I'll share the screen, the slide with you through the coordinator. This is all related to the achievement of SDGs till the present time in India, and I think I did not elaborate each of them. So I think I have to skip these things. Better to collect questions, and that will be more useful. Okay, so if you have any queries, please raise it here. And let me also tell you, I have noted down your question, though I haven't touched each of them, especially for the best practices in technical education. I will share the story, especially the BTech students in engineering college. They just come out from their home, then they started staying in hostels. And regarding eating habit, we worked on some behavioral implementation for improving their eating habit. The best way of utilizing the food so that the food wastage should be much lesser in these organizations. So one of the estimates we got it that 320 kg, around 320 kg of wastage in hostel is noted in some of the technical organizations. I'm not taking the name by these higher students in higher technical organizations, and that to such a literate group of scholars. 320 kg of food wastage. So the directions were we highlighted with different postcards, different flags that you are actually wasting. So the counters are actually opened. Instead of serving them, the option are given that you should take your food. But if your plate is identified with some leftover, there will be hefty penalty. Okay, that was one. Otherwise, taking food, there is hardly any limit. So that way we have seen that the intervention has actually worked a lot, and then control and reduce the wastage. Some other through the responses like giving good quality food, less oiled food, and then better quality of vegetables or the food or the cook, while changing the cook from one place to another place, from one mess to another place has also improved in this direction. So given the time limit, I'm not emphasizing all these things in detail. And another question was on metrics to evaluate outcomes. Yes, there are a number of good matrices. I mean, the standard matrix is HDQIL. I mean, if you go through UNDP and even the UNICEF, you will find a number of standard matrices provided by them to measure the educational outcome. So at this moment, I'm not emphasizing this detail, given the time paucity. The rest, I think we can address without interruption. Over to you. I'll be happy to listen to questions.
So there is one query from Mr. Sivakumar sir in the chat box. How to get the data of health and wellness SDG 3?
Okay. So I'll let me give you that link. Okay. I'll just share the data quickly. So I have guided actually in my module where to get this data. Particularly, I am actually specializing in this area. So just give me a moment. This is here, health and well-being. Well-being. So I can guide you a number of good databases and in pan-India level databases, which is considered to be holistic in sets. So one data set I've given, another data set for health and well-being, especially for the pre-elderly and elderly population, is called LASI, LASI, LASI database by Harvard University, along with IIPS, Longitudinal Aging Survey of India. So the link I have just provided, I'm sure will be useful. And this is developed with the idea of carrying a panel content, panel database. And the result what you derive, it is quite expected to be representing to a bigger population. Your result will be having policy directions. If you do your own survey with hardly 400, 500 or 1000 population, there will be number of questions from the journal or the editor or by the policymaker that your is very narrowly defined. Data sample size is very less. So the result, whatever you derive, may not represent too larger population. Hence, this cannot be concluded with any strong policy outcomes. So if you stick to bigger databases like this initially, then you have your own survey design separately. I think that will be quite good. Okay, so over to you. I think if you have any other queries, I'll be happy to address.
Sir, like one question from my side.
Sure.
Like I have done around 3 courses, like from NPTEL, like with respect to R. But like I have never taken that test. So like how does that test happens? Like it is all written, or like some exercise will be given to you, or like some Viva kind of thing is also there, sir?
Okay. Usually, am I visible? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Usually, they conduct the test with the help of TCS.
Okay, sir.
Likewise, our the test centers located in different places for JEE exam.
Okay, sir.
So NPTEL office usually hire these offices to conduct the test. So they guide, once you pay 1000 rupees as registration fee, they will start sending you the details.
Okay, fine, sir.
Usually it is very robust. Hardly there are any errors so far.
Yes, I will use it, sir. Now, like I have never taken that test.
It's very useful. I strongly recommend to get this
sir.
certificate procured. Will be useful for your later career. Any other queries? I'll be happy to address.
I'm having a query. Say, you're talking about 96 pages of survey, etc. But do this survey really can be taken from the citizens? Because say the concentration level of the people is not so great. Even for 3 pages, people will worn out. And we are talking about 75 pages, 96 pages.
Okay.
It is very difficult for me to believe this, but
okay. No. Actually, this is not just conceptualized today. Over last 50 years, Government of India has started conducting different format for survey. Every state and every district we have National Statistical Office. And they are at least around 50 employees are working. Every, in all 640 district. Now the number of district increased to 700 plus. Every district you will find statistical office. And they are given training at a different point of time. Okay, so and the design is made in a very robust way. And the ISI behind this scene is actually Indian Statistical Institute. Okay, and they have been doing regularly. And this database is well appreciated across globe. So individually it is difficult. So it is the initiative of the Government of India. Long back, not today. If you see their design, they have mentioned how the weights are defined, how the person who is conducting the survey, how much time they have taken to give the training to the field investigator. It's not just the novice investigator who is going to the field for survey. They are the certified trainer. They also take the help of NGOs in different places, and NGOs are also registered, not just the common NGOs. Okay? So Wellcome Trust, Bill Gates Foundation, etc., are all attached. If you read between the lines in those pages which I shared, you'll get more information, the correct information. That is why I thought it's better to highlight, instead of referring just, the common articles here and there. It's better to go by the original data and the articles. Any other queries?
Probably you can share your LinkedIn or something.
Sure.
Whenever I get stuck, probably I'll be in touch with you. I will
Okay,
not
I have
disturb you.
thanks that you have highlighted something, though I didn't address correctly. You have your startup. I have actually inaugurated in last week my lab. This is called AHEAD Lab. I'll just share you maybe. So AHEAD Lab. Okay, screen is not. So just give me a moment. Hardly in 2-3 minutes I will do that. Okay, so this is my. I'm going to share AHEAD Lab. So there are people from the ministry and other dignitaries. They inaugurated through my course. So all the details, like we completed our winter school. There are huge, news coverage of this. Given this, let me also share. Since you asked this, I cannot stop sharing. So like, expertise, in the expertise, we have these MOOC modules, health economics, exploring survey data. I think it is visible.
Yes, it
Yes, sir,
is.
it is.
Exploring survey data on healthcare, then handling large scale unit level surveys. So let me also give you the link of this, of my lab page here. And I'm sure it will be useful. And then the methods, we are also doing training on these methods. And there are huge, news coverage today in my. So I'll just give me a moment. It's hanging a bit. So it is here. Okay. So I've got it. In another few minutes, I'll complete this guidance and give you the direction. So here is another one related to the page. We are working the database which I highlighted will be useful. Just recently we have this inaugurated, and just yesterday these are the all news coverage for this, and on our program in the AIR Lab. So I'm not taking more time. I know that this is not good to emphasize. So better to listen from you now. I have already given you some directions, which I thought will be useful. Any other queries from you? So you may connect through my lab to my contacts. Acha, you are also expecting me to share the LinkedIn page as well. Hardly. Let me just share it. So any queries in between are most welcome. Please express. So it's hanging actually. Number of pages and huge database, and its page is open, so it's bit hanging. So anyway, I've got this. So let me give the link here. Yes. I'll be very happy to be attached with you. And I'm sure this will be adding value to all of you. Okay, so that's all I think from my side. If you want more information, I'll be happy to share you later. Since we have already crossed time, we need to be a little professional on this. And I think we have done justice to that regard. Okay, so
Thank you so
please
much.
go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohanty, for your session. In case there are any questions, all of you can share it with us on the group. We can share it with Dr. Mohanty for a later session, and he'll respond to you. And maybe if we could have a picture with you, everyone, if you, those of you who are comfortable, please have your cameras on.
Yes, ma'am, done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohanty. It's been a pleasure having you. I'm sure participants learned a lot about different data sets, how to carry out assessments and data sets and studies, etc. Thank you so much for making time as always. It's been a pleasure. And I hope all of you learned a lot from Dr. Mohanty. Please keep in touch. And everyone, see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Professor Dr. Tina.
Thank
And you have been coordinating so well. Very systematic. I must appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohanty. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
See you
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye
Good
bye.
evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you for the valuable inputs and the wonderful coordination, madam. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.